the jungle's back, got the natty pack in the orange and black.
Welcome to Week 10 of the Cincinnati Bengals Weekly Show, brought to you by Gridiron Mode, a new interactive football app where you get to call what you think the offense or defense should do during a live NFL game and see what all other fans have called also. Check out Gridiron Mode at www.gridironmode.com. As always, for the Bengals Weekly Show, I'm your host, Mike Goodpaster. Let me welcome in my co-host, Joe Kelly from the Super Bowl 23 Cincinnati Bengals. How you doing tonight, Joe?
Hey, I'm doing great, Mike. 8-0, man. Bengals Nation is proud, and all the Bengal alumni are really happy about what's going on, and you can feel that playoff excitement here in the city of Cincinnati, man. So it's a great time to be a part of Who Dey Nation.
Well, and, you know, we've had a lot of guys from the Super Bowl 23 team over the past few weeks, David Grant, Barney Bussey, Ira Hillary, guys like that. So I figured we'd bring in somebody from Super Bowl 16 this week. So everybody, yes. Welcome to the Grueling Truth. Gary Burley, who was a defensive tackle for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on the show.
Oh, it's great to have you on.
Yeah. We definitely got to get him to talk about those he wore a certain color underwear, Mike.
I kind of figured that just from the Facebook post that I saw. I think it was Bo Harris that posted that on there.
Yeah, I didn't know about that. I never heard about that, so we'll let him talk about that later on in the show.
Well, this will be, if we do that, the first time I've ever asked another man about his underwear. So,
well, feel comfortable with this. They were pantyhose, not underwear.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, but the story is a hell of a lot better if it's underwear, Gary, so just go with it. All right, we're going to recap the Bengals running the record to 8-0 against the Cleveland Browns with a 31-10 win. The offense and defense. Defense had a little bit of trouble in the first half. Second half, held contain a little bit better, shut down, made Manziel stay in the pocket. Gary, what was your impression of the Bengals defense, especially the defensive line?
I was very impressed with the defensive line because it seems like for this game, everybody stayed in their lanes. And Joe knows what I'm talking about when I say that.
Yeah.
You have to contain a quarterback, especially a running quarterback like Johnny Manziel. And the guys stayed in their lanes. And they put pressure, not only put pressure on the quarterback, but didn't allow him to run outside and make those extra plays. So I was very impressed with the defensive line.
Well, I'll tell you, I think the first half, Johnny Manziel ran around a little bit on him. I saw Dunlap get out of his lanes a little bit. He wasn't holding his contain. But the second half, they fixed that. Joe, is that something that's going to concern you the rest of the season, or do you think maybe this helps fix that?
Well, I think it gets us prepared for a running quarterback. I think the first half, overall, I think like Gary said, the defensive line played well. Defense played well overall. But when you have a new quarterback, Johnny Manziel's in there, and initially first half, he was making some plays with his legs. The kid didn't win the Heisman Trophy for nothing. He got in there, and I think he showed some composure. He was making some plays with his legs, and a couple of times we got out of our lanes and opened up that allowed him to extend the play. But going in halftime, I think we got together, defensive coaches, and got the players together, and they realized what they were doing. And like Gary said, you stay in your lanes. When you're pass rushing, you stay in your rush lanes. You keep containment. And if everybody's doing their assignment, you can get a guy like Manziel, and you can keep them contained. And that's what they did in the second half. And as a result, you see the second half, we blew the game away. So
offensively, when you go to the offensive side again, you said it, we've all said it tons of times. The thing that makes this offense really good is the formations they come out in. They confuse defenses. Dalton was 21 for 27, 234 yards, 3 touchdowns. Jeremy Hill, Gio Bernard both ran the ball very successfully. Tyler Eifert, what more can you say about a guy that catches 3 touchdown passes in an NFL football game? You want to talk a little bit about the formations and the kind of effect that has on a defense?
You talking to me?
Whoever wants to answer it.
With the offensive formations, Like I've always said this entire year, Hugh Jackson, the offensive coordinator, I think he's a hell of an offensive coordinator. I think he is game planning each week in and week out. He's keeping the defenses on their toes. He's keeping those guys guessing. And when you come out in all those multiple formations, those unbalanced formations, then you have the offensive tackle split out. We come in with three wideouts. We're flexing the tight end. We're putting out that running back in motion. And like we talked about all year, Mike, our offense is a hard matchup for anybody. When I look at the best defenses out here this year, it's still a matchup. We have three wide receivers that can go against any corner. We have Eifert, playing the way he's playing, and then when we have our other tight end who really stepped up the last two games, and then
Ryan Hewitt,
two running backs. Yeah, so it's a hard matchup, and I think as long as he continues to put out some really good game plans. That redhead, man, the gunslinger, I think he's playing at such a high confidence level right now. He's playing as well as any quarterback in the league. And I think he believes that he can make the play, and I think he keeps his composure a lot more than he had in the past. And as a result, you see it. I mean, we're 8-0. And it starts at that quarterback position. That's your leader, and he's making plays and he's keeping those guys together when things are going as well as they should. And as a result, hey, we're 8-0, man, and we're looking at this week facing the Texans, and I think things are looking pretty good.
All right, Gary, you were a really good NFL defensive lineman. The thing I see, the only drawback I see with the Bengals offense is I'm not sold on the center and the two guards. Do you want to talk a little bit about what you thought of the offensive line play against Cleveland?
Well, I think that there's always room for improvement, but overall, I think the guys are doing what they can do, and they have a systematic approach on that offensive line that gets the job done. So as long as they continue to grow, they're only going to get better. And hopefully by the time the playoffs start, and I'm not looking ahead to the playoffs, but I'm just saying by that time, they should be one well-oiled unit.
All right. The next game, Monday night at the Jungle, the Cincinnati Bengals, who are 8-0, will host the Houston Texans, who are 3-5. But at 3-5, they're right in the thick of the AFC South, which may be the worst division in NFL history. What's your first take on the game against the Texans, Gary?
Well, I think that my concern is going to be J.J. Watt. Overall, he may be a problem, but I think that the offensive lineman, the offensive tackle that plays nose to nose with him is going to do the right thing. He's going to be correct. He's studied enough time to study this guy, and he knows what his weaknesses are. Other than that, I'm not sure about the career of the number one draft pick last year. I can't think of his name.
From what I hear today, they're saying that he's probably not going to be playing. Jadeveon Clowney?
Jadeveon Clowney. Yeah. Is he hurt or what?
I guess. I guess he's nicked up because they said today that he was questionable and they didn't think he would be able to play in the game. Wow.
Yeah.
This guy hasn't played. Joe, has he played this year at all?
He played a little bit. He's played a few, but to me personally, Gary, I think they have the kid playing out of position. Because when you look at the talent, when you have a guy that's 6'5", 265, running 4.5, 4.4, that is some serious physical advantage. And I think the kid is a defensive lineman. The kid was a defensive lineman in college. He was a rush in. You put him down in the three-point stance. I can remember coming in on my rookie year. I came in with Charles Haley. I came in with Pat Swilling. Those guys initially, because of their size, the teams put them at linebacker, and they were out of place. You had Pat Swilling dropping, you had other guy dropping, but the minute that they realized, hey, let's put these two guys down, put them in a three-point stance, and as a result, you see Charles Haley, Hall of Famer. You see Pat Swilling, have an awesome career down in New Orleans. So I think right now they're trying to fit him in a position that he's not a linebacker. He's never played linebacker in his life, and they're having him to try and play linebacker at this level. And Gary can attest to this. At this level, you may not know my name, but after the game you will know my name, because in this league, everybody's good. You didn't get to the NFL and not be able to play. You were the best wherever you came from. So everybody, you line up, everybody can play. I think if they put the kid in a better position and get him playing like he did in college, he can make some noise.
Yeah, but even in college, the big question with him was his technique. I mean, he gives up his chest on his first move. I mean, I did an NFL draft show a couple of years ago when he came out, watched a lot of film on him, and it seemed to me he gives up his chest a lot, which was good against teams that weren't that good if he's playing Vanderbilt. But the year he had all the sacks in college, I think 75 or let's see, I think only like 2 of those sacks were against top 25 teams. I mean, when he played teams like Alabama, he wasn't getting sacks. And the other thing about him when you watch him is he tends to take plays off.
Well, as Joe can tell you, it's all about basic fundamentals. And if you don't have them coming out of high school, you're not going to have them in college. And then when you definitely get to the pros, it's something that you either have or you don't have. And so many guys that don't have basic fundamentals do exactly what you just said. The first thing they do is put their chest up, and the offensive lineman puts his hands in your chest and rides you out for the play. So, that's what we do here in Alabama. I have a company called Pro Start Academy where we teach kids how to market themselves for college scholarship consideration, but also the academics, and teach them the basic fundamentals of the sport. And that's something that isn't being taught right now, and we've got to do something about it.
I agree.
Yeah, especially when you got a guy the size of Clowney, because let's face it, in high school and even college, he can get by just on his natural athletic ability.
Oh, no doubt about it.
Exactly.
But when you get to the NFL and you get an offensive lineman that's a lot bigger, a lot stronger, and has really good technique, you got a problem.
Oh, exactly. It's like, to piggyback on what Joe said, everybody's good in the NFL. No matter what position the guy's playing, whether he's on the bench or whether he's the starter, they're all good. They're all better than the people that are trying to get there. So it's an amazing thing that coaches won't teach more basic fundamentals now coming up. And that's I don't know if it's won't teach or if they're just maybe not capable of teaching it.
No,
that's not true. I take it, they've got to know what a basic fundamental is, a basic pass rush, how to tackle, how to run a route. Those type of things are simple.
But I can tell you this, in Indiana especially, there's a ton of high school coaches that have no clue about hand placement for a defensive lineman or anything like that. Yeah. They basically just coach what they were taught when they were little.
Well, it's like a lot of coaches here are not in it for the love of the sport. They're in it for a stipend or what have you.
Right.
And
right.
That's where I'm going with that, Gary.
Yes. And you know what? With when you get to the NFL is, we all, Gary came out of Pitt. We all came out of University of Washington. We were all the best. We had to be the best in order just to get to this level. But even when you get to the NFL, this is the best of the best. And only the best of the best make it. So when you get here, there is a transition. I don't care who you are. There is a transition. You have to learn how to become a pro. You have to learn how to be able to compete on a weekly basis in the NFL because hey, you're playing in college and week 12 the season is over. When you get to the NFL, you got 4 preseasons and halfway through the season, that's 12 games. And you still got 8 to go. So it's being in the NFL. It's a grind. But it's something that hopefully the kid can learn from J.J. Watt. You look what J.J. Watt's work ethic and everything that he brings, all the intangibles that he brings to a team and to his other teammates. They have Vince Wilfork down there, a veteran guy. So like me, when I came in my rookie year, I had Reggie Williams. Reggie was in his 10th year. So just me asking him questions, over and over. And, I would take him in training camp, and I would take him and we'd go in the room and we'd play dominoes, and I would whoop him, of course. And we wouldn't go to sleep between practices, but I would just be in his ear about competing, about, dropping back, about rushing, just trying to eat up whatever knowledge that he can give me. And, he was an integral part, me being able to survive, 11 years in the NFL. And that's what Jadeveon Clowney, he has to do. He has to take advantage of J.J. Watt. He has to take advantage of Wilfo, who's, Wilfo, I don't know, he's been in the year, 11, 12, 13 years, something like that. So he has to take advantage of that. And if he doesn't, unfortunately, he'll be another Andre Bruce.
Like I say, NFL, not for long.
Not for long, Gary. Not for long, buddy.
Well, we go to the Houston offense, Joe. What do you think the Bengals have to do to stop them? They've actually played fairly well lately. I think the past 5 games, Hoyer's got a 101.6 quarterback rating. Alfred Blue, the running back, 105 yards a game over the last couple games. And, of course, DeAndre Hopkins, who I think has developed into probably a top 3 or 4 receiver in the NFL. Nate Washington has played a good complement to him the last couple games with 13 receptions, 201 yards. How do you think the Bengals attack them?
I think that we do what we do best. I think we get after the passer. I think our defensive linemen can take advantage of their offensive line. They're set, number 7, one of the tackles is a little banged up. But I think we can keep him in control. The Hopkins, their receiver, I think he's going to pose some problems because the kid is a gifted kid. I did watch him on Hard Knocks this preseason, and he has a gift. He's special. He has speed. He has great hands. He runs great routes. So I think that is going to be a challenge for our defensive backs. Hoyer, I think we can, our D linemen stay in the rush lanes. They stay disciplined. Our linebackers, they stay disciplined and fill in their gaps. We can contain Blue. Unfortunately, their running back, unfortunately, he's out for the year. So, they're hurting in that aspect. And even though Hoyer's been playing well, I don't think with the way the season is going, I think we all expected, me included, I expected Houston to be a playoff contending team, even though, like you said, in that conference, 3-5, I think they might be tied for first place.
They're a half game back, I think, aren't they? Or maybe a game back.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, they're half game back. I think Indy's like 4-5 or something. Hell, I don't know.
So, but I think we should, defensively, we should be able to dominate them and keep them out of the end zone.
All right, Gary.
Yes,
what do you think? What do you think the Bengals' offensive game plan should be? Now, the one thing about the Texans is they're not very good against the run. Even though they've got those defensive linemen, I mean, do you think the Bengals basically just kind of use the game plan they did against Cleveland, or?
Well, I think that that's the way to reach success. You stick with what got you to the dance, and their ability to run the ball, pass the ball, and keep their guys motivated is going to be the winning formula for Cincinnati against Houston. And it's no different than what they did last week. You do the same exact thing. Football, guys, hasn't changed in 100 years. It's blocking, it's tackling, it's pass rushing. And the Bengals are starting to do that on both sides of the ball. So now we just sit back and wait for them to win. It's up to them.
All right. So, Joe, what's your prediction for this week?
I'm looking at us taking advantage of all of our mismatches on offense. I think we have some mismatches on defense. I think Dunlap on the end. I think Geno Atkins can take advantage of those guys on the inside. So I'm looking for us to go 9-0, Mike, and I'm looking at us scoring 5 touchdowns. I'm saying 35-14, Houday Nation, and we'll be 9-0, baby.
All right, what do you think, Gary?
Well, it would be nice to go 9-0, and
yes,
like I say, I am one game at a time for the Bengals, And like I said, as long as they stick to their knitting, as Coach Majors used to tell us, they'll be successful throughout the year.
Mm-hmm. All righty. So we're going to take a word from our sponsor. We're going to be back. We'll talk to Gary about his career with the Cincinnati Bengals. So check out this word from Gridiron Mode.
This is former All-Pro Leon Searcy. I've got a new interactive app called Gridiron Mode, where you get to call the plays, offense or defense, and a live NFL game. You get to interact with other fans, pick the play, pick the call. That's Gridiron Mode.
All right, we're back on Week 10 of the Cincinnati Bengals weekly show on the Grueling Truth Radio Network. Myself, Joe Kelly. I have a special guest today, Gary Burley, who was drafted by the Bengals in 1975. Got any good Paul Brown stories?
Oh, man, there's so many. Coach Brown was one of the great guys of the game, of course, an innovator in the game. But the story that sticks out in my mind the most is we were going on strike. I'm not sure what year it was. It was 77 or 78, somewhere in there. And whoever the executive director of the NFLPA came in to get guys hyped up about being on strike. So there's something different about the Bengals. Back in the day, we used to have to sit in the assigned seats, right? So, that they don't do that anymore, I don't think. But anyway,
you had to sit in the front. Did that mean you were about to be cut?
Well, if you got to those seats, those assigned seats, that meant you were on the team. But the thing is, we were in this meeting. There's a big rah-rah meeting, and all of a sudden, the guy stood up and wanted everybody to start applauding and all this stuff about going on strike. Well, all of a sudden, the door opens, and in walks Coach Brown in his football uniform, with his cap and T-shirt and that kind of stuff. And you can't hide because everybody's in assigned seats, so he knows where everybody is. So he walks up to the podium, right in the middle of the guy's rah-rah speech, and he goes, "Somebody's got their car in my parking space. Move it."
Uh-oh.
And he turned around and walked out. Well, needless to say, the meeting was over after that, and they made the guy get up out of there. But that's one of the things that I always remember about Coach Brown. He was a guy that said little, but meant a whole lot.
Yeah.
All right. Now, your first year you were with the Bengals, you were drafted in 1975. The Bengals were really good your first few years there. Had some great players you played alongside of. You want to talk a little bit about Coy Bacon?
Well, I tell you, it's amazing to me that there's not more said about Coy Bacon because, in addition to me learning so much about pass rushing, watching this guy was amazing. Like I was talking earlier, he wasn't around when they had before they put stats on there. So we were before stats. So this guy, 1 year, had 34 unofficial sacks. 34 guys. And the thing that I would like to see is him being honored in some kind of fashion for that. I don't know if he ever will make it to the Hall of Fame. That's a possibility, but to honor him in some fashion would be something that I would love to see.
And you talk about the Hall of Fame. There's a couple other Bengals from the 75 team that I think belong there outside of even Kenny Anderson, which would be Lamar Parish and Ken Riley. You want to speak about them?
Oh, my God. Leaping Lamar Parish and Ken Riley. Ken Riley, to me, was the quintessential defensive back. Coupled with Lamar Parish, there was nobody. They were shut down corners and defensive backs. And I don't think there's been anybody better than those two guys. And hopefully they will be recognized in the Hall of Fame someday.
All right. Now, you played for the Bengals, like I said, 75. Team was 11-3, 76. I believe 10-4, 77, 8-6. Actually beat the Steelers second to last week and then got upset by Houston to keep you guys out of the playoffs. Then you went through the Homer Rice and Bill Tiger Johnson era. And then a guy named Forrest Gregg comes in, Hall of Famer. Vince Lombardi called him the greatest football player he ever coached. What was it like when Forrest Gregg first walked in the room?
Well, you know, as Joe can probably tell you that when a new coach comes in, everybody, when you're meeting privately before you actually meet him, you're telling everybody what you're going to do and what you're not going to do. Well, that never happened. When he got there, all eyes were on Forrest, and, you know, he was a winner. And what he said, you knew, had proof behind it. So we listened to whatever he said, and the end result was they got to the Super Bowl in 1981.
All right, you played in the coldest game in NFL history. What are your recollections of that day against San Diego?
My recollections of that day was I was looking up in the stand, and I saw 4 guys with their shirts off. Now, guys, it was so cold there, if you spit, it would become a ball of ice before it hit the ground. So now when you look up and see 4 guys with their shirts off, you know something's not right with these guys.
Well, I think there was a couple fans that died of hypothermia that day, too.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That was my next thought, man. It's like 2 of the guys died. And, you know, I feel bad for the families, but, you know, when you go out and it's 59 below wind chill factor and you take off your shirt, something's wrong with you.
Yeah.
Something's definitely wrong with
you. A little bit.
But, you know, that game kind of let us know that we're capable of doing whatever we want to do in this league. And we did, you know, through the 12-game winning season and then going to the Super Bowl. It was just an amazing year.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, the one thing that always irritates me, and this came up on my show a couple months ago, you remember the great San Diego Charger guard Ed White?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Ed was on our show, and he starts bitching and whining about him opening up to one side, the tunnel, so the wind would blow and the Bengals were going that way or when they were going that way. Bitching about it, and he made a statement that still pisses me off, and I heard it on the NFL Network where they ranked the top 10 teams that didn't win the Super Bowl, and they put the 81 Chargers there and not the 81 Bengals. They talked about the cold weather, and the thing I brought up to Ed, which he conveniently did not remember, was that 2 months before that, you guys played them out there and beat them 41-17 in 80-degree weather.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's no doubt about it. You know, Ed and I are Facebook buddies, and Ed's a great artist. And
yeah, I know. Ed's a great guy.
We're going to have that conversation again, I'm quite sure, about the Falcons.
Because, I mean, he's like in his, mid-60s or so, and he was going to be on the show one day. And I was supposed to call him that day, and I called him. And his wife tells me, well, he's out surfing right now.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's that San Diego living. Man.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt about it, man.
Yeah, you don't get to do that here.
Now, Mike,
and then another one. Go ahead.
No, I was going to ask Gary. Reggie Williams told me a great Forrest Gregg story. I can't recall what year it is, but I think you guys lost. You had to win. It might have been, you said the Houston upset them the last game of the year. You guys lost, and you guys walked in the locker room, and you didn't make the playoffs. And it was, I guess it was Christmas, or Christmas is going to be the next day, and Forrest walks in, and he doesn't go on about the game. He just walks in there, and he just looks at all the players, and he says, "Merry effing Christmas," and he walks out.
Oh, I remember that so well, man, because I was standing right by him when he said it, when he came in the locker room, and man.
That was classic right there. Yeah, Reggie told me that story, and I was just like, oh, yeah, that's Forrest Gregg.
Well, I'll tell you, one of my favorite Bengals growing up was Reggie Williams. And if you both want, you both can take that question. Just tell us what Reggie Williams was like, because the guys I've talked to that played on that team always told me with both teams he was basically the leader of the defense.
Yeah, I think our stories would be different because Gary came in a year before Reggie, and with me, I came in. Reggie was in his 10th year, so obviously, Gary's story is probably a little different than mine. For me, Reggie was, being a linebacker. Both of us being linebackers, he was that guy. As soon as I came in, it was first-round pick, and everybody's eyes on you. And the first day, practice, Reggie, came and said, hey, I'll pick you up from the hotel. And he came and his family, his wife and his kids, and he picked me up and he took me out to Kings Island, with his kids. They were little kids then. And from that day on, we just bonded. And, just me knowing who he was and, trying to understand this thing, this game called this NFL thing that, was only a dream. But now it's reality, man. So, here's a guy who was in his 10th year, and I was just trying to soak up everything that he had. And, when you're young, you feel you're invincible and you're playing with swag, and then you get out there with these grown men. And, it's a different environment. It's a different feel, coming out of the Pac-10. And, we were pretty much one of the dominant conferences back in the mid-'80s. And I recall one of the first games I played against Denver and John Elway. And I come out on the blitz, and, I come and I see Elway, and I come, and I'm just going full speed, and I hit him, and I fall off. And Reggie's like right there, and I lose containment. So John is running around, and I'm on the ground trying to get up, and Reggie looks at me, and he says, "You effing rookie, do your assignment." Now, we've been buddies this whole time, So this is like, get up and do your assignment. You'd have kept contained, I'd have got the sack. But that was to me, that was like, okay, this is, because I'm team MVP, man. I'm all Pac-10, I'm all American, and it's just like, okay, this is a serious game, and it was just, that, man. So he was like my mentor, man, and we remain friends till this day.
Well, Gary, you want to speak about Reggie Williams and maybe Jim LeClaire also?
Sure. Reggie Williams was a great guy, and he had a lot to prove when he came in because we were a little bit leery of a Dartmouth football player. I mean, Dartmouth, you don't know that much about their football seasons because they haven't won any championships or what have you. So we were a little leery when he got there, and then the first game that he played in, we knew why he was drafted. He was a guy that followed his assignments. He was a guy that motivated others, and he was just an all-around good defensive a linebacker. And to this day, Reggie and I are still good friends, and I like to keep in touch with Reggie and Isaac Curtis and Louis Breeden and all the guys up there now, and we all have Reggie stories that we tell, and we used to call him the governor.
The governor, yeah.
He ended up being the mayor.
Yeah, he did end up being the mayor, but we called him the governor. That was his name, and I don't know if you guys remember the song that Reggie, Isaac, and Archie Griffin made called "The Bengals."
Yep, 1991.
No. Somebody sent me that the other day, and it opened up so many old memories about Reggie. And
I still got the old 45 record.
No, you got to be kidding.
No, I do. I got a buddy that's got it too.
Oh
wow!
Amazing.
You got to post that on Facebook, Mike.
Hey, and I'll tell you this too, Joe. The other day, me and my son were watching that Bengals Broncos game from '86, and my son asked, "What's that linebacker doing?"
Yeah.
Because that was the game we got screwed over by the officials too. We had the big comeback, ended up losing, I think, 34-28.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So,
but I like to show him the old stuff to show him it wasn't always bad.
Yeah. Great stories, man. Great stories.
No doubt about it, man. So how's Reggie doing now? I haven't talked to him in a while.
Reggie, he's doing, he's walking now. He had the open heart procedure last year, and he's recovered from that, and he battled back with that leg, man, that knee. He almost lost. I mean, he was probably hours, if not minutes, away from losing his leg.
Oh wow!
And Reggie's been Reggie, man. He battled back, and I think the leg is 5 inches shorter than the other one now, so he has to wear that special shoe. But they said that he would never walk again. Definitely wouldn't run again, and he's definitely walking. And Reg is he's trying to get out there, man, and do a little jogging. So he's Reggie's a warrior, man. He's
no doubt about it, man. He's always been. In that same vein, guys, I'd like to say something for your fan base. I'm a cancer survivor, multiple myeloma, and what I suggest for everybody out there is to be tested once a year with blood work on this, because my doctor told me at the time that I was diagnosed that they normally don't find that type that I had until your autopsy. And the only way to find out is through an extensive blood work. So your fans out there, and you guys too, of course, once a year you should have a blood test and a checkup from your oncologist.
All right. And also, you brought up your business. You want to plug that again? Tell everybody where they can go to find you.
Sure. We're at www.prostartacademy.com. And as I said, we are all retired NFL players, and we teach the basic fundamentals of the sport, coupled with the academics the kids are going to need to not only get in college, but stay there once they get there. And that's basically what we do. And the final portion of our academy is that we have some of the top CEOs from around the country come in and talk to the kids about how do you get from the loading dock to the boardroom. So basically, financial wherewithal is another area that we focus on, because we want kids to be able to look beyond playing football. Use football as a stepping stone to success in life. So that's what we do.
Yep, you can only play football so long.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. That's why they say in the NFL, not for long.
Gary, it was an absolute honor having you on the show tonight. We'd love to have you back anytime.
Well, thank you guys, and good luck on the rest of the year. And go Bengals, hoo day!
All right, thanks a lot, Gary. Joe, you got any final words?
Well, once again, Big Gary, man, thanks, man. It's awesome. You know what? One thing that Gary didn't hit on was those pink underwear, those pink pantyhose.
Oh, I forgot all about the pink underwear. Let's go to we can't finish without the pink underwear.
Right, Gary. Can you just briefly tell us where that came from, man, and what was behind it?
Joe, to be honest with you, man, I have no idea what you're talking about, because we wore pantyhose. You remember the commercial a long time ago with Joe Namath when he wore the pantyhose? Yeah. Well, there was someone that came to the Bengals and told them, I forget what the name of the company was, but they made pantyhose. And they said that that's the best way that women keep warm. And you think about it, a lady always has a dress on and pantyhose, and her legs don't get that cold. So that's what we wore for that 59 below wind chill factor game. We all had pantyhose on. So now this pink underwear, I'm not sure where that came from. That must have been after me.
That must have been Joe.
Even if it wasn't, guys, I would tell you that it was after me, pink underwear. All right, guys, have a great day, man.
Yep, thanks a lot, Gary.
Thanks, Gary.
All right, Joe, that was a great guest right there.
Yeah, that was a great guest. Yeah, that was awesome, man. Good show.
Well, we need to work on getting Reggie Williams on the show.
Yeah, I'll definitely hit him up. See if
I'd like to get Isaac Curtis, too, which you brought up Isaac. I haven't heard anything about Isaac in a long time.
Yeah, Isaac, Lewis Breeden. Lewis Breeden and I sat together at the Thursday night game.
Okay, Louis Breeden, he had over 100-yard touchdown return against San Diego when they beat him in the regular season out in San Diego in 81.
Yeah, Lou's really a great guy. They're having dinner and cocktails Sunday night, the NFL legends down at the stadium. So, there'll be a bunch of guys there. I'll be there. Most of those guys. I don't know. I know Isaac. Isaac is. I don't think he's here anymore. I think he moved back to California.
Yeah. I think it was from San Diego, wasn't he?
Yeah. So there'll be a lot of guys down there, man, Sunday.
All right, that's fine. Don't give me an invite, Joe. That's all right.
Yeah. Come on, Mike. Come on down, man. It'd be great. We're actually going. My stepson plays for Wilmington, so he plays basketball. So we're going to be at Mount St. Joe's like at 3:00, and then we'll just shoot over to the stadium after that, man, and have some dinner, cocktails with some of the fellas. So good deal, man. If you're not doing anything, man, call me. And I'll get over there. We'll get in.
All right.
And it's not really run by Mike. This guy that hit the NFL Legends out of New York, he'll be there, and so they're just trying to get Mike Brown to really see how beneficial it would be having all the veterans. An alumni.
He needs to. It seems like he straightened up the football end, but he still hadn't straightened up everything else.
Yeah. So with Mike, you got to take it one at a time.
Well, come on. How many places would have an Anthony Munoz and not have his jersey hanging up somewhere and retired?
Right. It's when you think about it, we only have one Hall of Famer, but when you think about Ken Riley, Lamar Parish. Kenny Anderson. Those are some guys that definitely, man, should be on that list.
I put James Brooks up there. I like James Brooks. He was good.
Yeah, JB. We'll get JB, man. That's my guy, man. That's some boys, man. We did the autograph session, the Seattle game. We did that together.
Well, I can tell you this, going to the playoff games and the regular season games with my dad, the lucky jersey that year that made you guys get to the Super Bowl was a James Brooks jersey that I bought at Indiana State when I was going to college here. So,
okay.
You actually, in Terre Haute in 1987, a Bengals jersey was only $9.99. So,
I was in Terre Haute 2 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks. Kevin Walker, linebacker Kevin Walker, his
number 59.
His son. Yeah, his son, Kendall Walker. This is his senior year.
Okay, I remember you seeing the pictures you posted in Indiana State. Yeah, that's where my ill-fated college career was.
Yeah. And he's been invited to play in that the college FCS All-Star game.
Yeah.
So that's if they don't make the playoffs. If they make the playoffs, he won't be able to play. But it's a good deal. He's he's having a real good senior year. So that's good. That's awesome. That's my guy.
Right.
So.
We got to get off here because them 49ers are coming on to go about their win this week because they don't get to do that very often. So.
Right. Yeah, let them talk about that one win they had.
So everybody make sure you go to the Grueling Truth Facebook page, like that. Check out Gridiron Mode at www.gridironmode.com. So for Joe Kelly, this is Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.